pressure, you know what I mean, that brings. And I think that you can shave the number of roll-ins, okay, things like that. But I think that Swordcraft has a place. It's not gone now. Everything else got toned down a little bit, you know what I mean, which I think brings all the other decks up. Again, surprising that Havencraft isn't making more of an appearance, but Swordcraft entering back into the fold, you know, pretty much par for the course. Everything else gets weaker. Everything else gets a little bit stronger that did not get hit.
DV8 going to be running Rune and Blood, and Andeemon running Dragon and Rune, and it's exactly as you predicted. Wow. Okay.
It's interesting to me that DV8 decided to let Daria through instead of Shadowcraft.
You keep Chain Lightning? Is that real?
Huh?
You keep Chain Lightning in that hand? Is that real?
Did he not mull that?
He didn't mull it.
I don't know.
Maybe I'm going crazy. Maybe he already mulliganed.
Maybe you're going crazy. I'm hoping he mulled that if that was an option. But in any case, I still am just surprised. Like, we saw him ban out Daria against his teammate, like they did the Daria bans. Instead, he chose to ban out Shadowcraft. I don't think Shadowcraft has that great of a matchup versus either of the decks that DV8's bringing. We've seen him beat Shadow already, or at least versions of the Vengeance Blood and Daria decks beating Shadowcraft. So very interesting ban for the Shadowcraft.
Yeah. I agree. I think that it is an interesting choice. Going into this mirror matchup is pretty rough. I think on the play, on the draw, especially for this mirror, I think is very ambiguous too.
It's super ambiguous. I don't think player of the draw actually matters in the mirror matchup at all. It's just about who can develop the biggest boards and who can protect the biggest boards over the course of the game. And honestly, sometimes in Daria mirrors, it just comes down to how many times can your opponent slam down Daria versus you. You know what I mean?
Are you going to get the chain combo, right?
That's right. Okay, you played your first Daria. Did you throw 2 away, or do you have 2 left in your deck? You know what I mean?
Nice use of the new Mysterian spell.
And I've got to say that Chimera has found a solid place in RuneCraft. It's, I mean, since Dimension Shift in the last rotation, or the last before rotation season, and now after rotation, just feels like it's such a good card. Swings so much tempo.
So if we're comparing the boosts here, over on the side of DV8, we have a Daria at 2. Meanwhile, Andeemon has a Daria at 4. And he can quickly catch up because he's on the draw, so he's 1 turn behind technically. And I think his boosting might actually just be slightly more efficient, except he has no target to hit the Wind Blast with. Nice.
This is a great turn.
Yep. And DV8 hit his second Daria, so... I mean, it could be fine if DV8 hits a third Daria on this pool, but...
Ooh, I don't think his hand is as aggressive as Andeemon's is. Andeemon's already got a chunk of damage in there.
It's kind of awkward because your Ogler is at 1 play point here. So if you play the Conjure Golem, you get the free Ogler, and then you can, you know, evolve, throw down the Piercing Rune, use the Enchanted Blade. You have the 0-cost Daria.
Get that Piercing Rune some use as well.
Going for the Golem, which means that the 5 damage here on the Ogler is not quite enough. Going to need to pump it up. And that means he loses out on the opportunity that Andeemon had to use the Blade Mage with the Enchanted Blade. I mean, if he pulls a Blade Mage here, right? Okay.
Wow.
Okay. Okay.
Wow. Wow. What an unbelievable redraw.
Yeah. The only regret is that you can't play the Chimera to, you know, affect the board here.
Right.
But, you know what? It's time for the return answer. The big difference here in hand is Andeemon has 2 Chimeras, which, if you throw away, you have less opportunity to deal with a board like this. So what is the spell boosting going to be like on this turn? You have a 2-cost Piercing Rune. You have a Wind Blast here that can get rid of the Daria, I would assume. Because I think he's had the Wind Blast for a while.
Yep.
Yep. If you Missile, you have a 1-cost Chimera. You have a 0-cost Daria, which does not feel good to play at this point. You could also just do this, throw 1 Chimera, and then Daria.
I think you have to. You can't not just produce as big of a board after that turn.
Yeah. All right.
Oh my goodness. These players.
The Ogler and the second Daria and the Wind Blast.
These draws are stellar. This is a Daria mirror match right here. This is everybody swinging for the fences.
As Ignidius would say, we're playing tennis now.
That's right. These are huge volleys.
Wow.
But on the answer back, there is a Blade Mage and removal and another Chimera.
Oh my gosh. Now, it doesn't get the boost that Andeemon has, right? And that's actually a huge leg up. On the play, maybe not going to matter so much. You only need to boost it a few more times because you're going to be on 8 play points. You're going to be on 9 play points. So you actually do have some flexibility to play things alongside the Daria that you draw. But it's certainly not going to be the same as having a 2-cost, 3-cost Daria.
Yeah. This is a slugfest. Now, that being said, Andeemon being on the draw does have a small leg up in the fact that he has the last evolution orb, and he also gets to play his Daria faster.
Yep, and it's going to be demonstrated here, right? Your next turn, you have a very expensive Blade Mage and a very expensive Daria, so Deviate is hitting that point where Daria just starts petering out.
Right.
The Golem Assaults are deadly as well.
Yeah, I think they will get thrown away. It really just depends. I mean, Andeemon has a lot of choices here. He could just swing for the fences and go for the best possible Daria.
You may as well Wind Blast and Piercing Rune, right?
Yeah. Finish out the board, continue this damage train.
When your opponent has 2 cards in hand, I feel like that's a pretty good swing for let's just throw everything at the board.
Yep.
And you have no Evolution Orb as well.
Let's take a look at this redraw.
Oh
my God.
This
With
is,
the
this,
insight.
What am I? It's the perfect card.
Oh my God.
What am I looking at?
These draws do not get any better.
And the Piercing Rune for the evolution to give the extra little
Unreal.
reach he might need to close the game out. And Andeemon, you know, this is karma for the Dragoncraft game you had in the winner's side.
Oh my goodness. This is possibly the best I've seen 2 Daria players draw against each other ever in a match. This is unreal.
And that, you know, the train had to end at some point.
Yeah.
You know?
Only
Okay.
so many volleys in a tennis match.
Oh my God.
And Demon. Wow. Showing the true raw power of Daria. That game.
The Insight Piercing Rune double Blade Mage.
Yeah. Unbelievable. And now, Deviate. He's done it before, beaten this type of Dragoncraft deck. Can he do it again? But he has to do it twice.
Oh, man.
And this is the thing I'm talking about. Rainey, if it were you, and your tournament life was riding on this, would you feel more confident beating Shadowcraft twice with this lineup or Dragoncraft twice with this lineup?
You know, it actually, and I'm kind of a dum-dum. So actually, to me, I would actually be like, well, maybe, you know, I've seen Dragoncraft not ramp sometimes.
Yeah, that's
it might
true.
work.
It does have a bigger chance of bricking. That is true. That is true. But I'm not sure.
So I'm actually feeling like, oh, okay, this works.
I don't know. I think Shadowcraft has been showing time and time again that it is just okay.
Yeah.
It's not the best deck that it, was thought of at the beginning of rotation format. It is just okay, especially with the Thane change. It doesn't have those consistent end games that you really want to have from Shadowcraft.
Oh no. And this board looks dangerous. So you have some removal spells, so you're not too scared just yet.
No. This board's it's fine. It's fine. However, that hand from Deviate though, the Belphegor with the double Dark General already in hand. Looking really spicy.
The less opportunities you have to ramp, like it's so important because that Sybil that is not activated is just like,
yeah,
you need to ramp.
We've
up.
seen that happen twice today, where Dragoncraft players were put into the situation where they had to play it just to take the board back.
You need to ramp up. You miss out on Salamander opportunities. You miss out on Sybil opportunities.
You know what I'm really sad about? Rahab. Where old Captain Rahab at?
Yeah.
Where's your ward at in the mid game?
Now he has a Grimner, but Rahab is very much
Play
bigger
them
than
both.
Grimner. You know? Yes, absolutely.
Play them both. Play wards.
Give him the Belphegor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right in the face.
And now you have no spells.
And
top
plus it's
deck needs to be
protected
powerful.
by the Spiderweb Imp. Again, showing just how powerful that card is.
Yes.
Yes, it might
There's
be...
no 2-for-1.
Yeah, there's no 2-for-1. It might only be good in Vengeance Blood, but I can see a consideration for playing Spiderweb Imp across more of the board these days because of just how good it is.
There is. I mean, what is the play here? That Belphegor can hit for 6. How do you open that opportunity up? Do you just throw away one of your Dark Generals here?
No, I think with especially that Snarling Chains drawn, you play the Snarling Chains, you play the Urius, evolve the Urius over it, and then run in with the Belphegor. That way you still maintain evolved damage because the Urius gets you at least 1 damage next turn as opposed to the full 2 from the evolve.
Yes.
But you get that extra damage back with Snarling Chains as well. So I think that's the play I would make this turn. There is a case for Scarlet Saboir.
For now.
Okay, so he probably is going for the Snarling Chains play here.
It just feels like it's the most damage forward play that he has. That's what he's going for.
Man. So I think over the next 2 turns is Deviate's biggest turns. If nothing comes of it, I think Andeemon will feel pretty good.
Yep.
It won't be long now.
And unfortunately, I think he has to get rid of this. I think he has to get rid of the Urius just to not take extra damage.
I mean, you're not gonna play Sahak Wheel into it, right?
Right. This is so tough. Like, using your Evolution Orb to kill the thing that's almost already dead feels terrible, but I think you have to just to prevent the damage, because if you don't, then it's like the Belphegor got evolved anyway.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Okay. Okay.
So suck
wow.
it up.
And takes the ping. Yep. So, Sabur targets the Bane or the Ward?
I think it targets the Ward. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And he gets the play points back, so never mind. He gets to just win the game,
Yeah.
actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Yeah.
All right.
Vengeance Blood is pretty good.
This is
Blood
matchup.
Drinker's brand.
Yep.
You know?
It's so good. Like
Gosh.
you put yourself into Vengeance, and then you basically just get the new version of Diabolic Drain. You don't get any healing back.
Yes.
But you still get the 1 play point, essentially, 4 damage spell, which is still really good.
The essentially is an important part, right? Because it's different than changing the cost to 1.
Right, very different. You have to have the you can't do the old Belphegor on 5 into Diabolic Drain, which was well, I'll say it's a little overpowered.
Yeah.
Now that you can't do it anymore in rotation. But
it was definitely very, very strong.
Right. But again, we expected that matchup to go the way that it did. Now let's see if Daria can break through Dragon again.
Yeah.
This one's for
Judging
my
by the way
family.
DVA had his previous Daria turn, though, pretty confident. Oh my god.
There's Ramp in hand. But Daria and Insight in hand, both players drawing very well.
Oh my god. This is going to be a rush. That Breath of the Salamander, again, we talk about how Daria boards are just that 1 defense above.
Yep.
You know?
Gone are the days where Witchet Emilu, was like the tempo play, and you were filling the board with 2/2s and stuff. Now it's like 4/4 Chimeras and 5/5 Darias and Enchanted Sorted Followers.
I think this concentration is going to backfire.
You think
Yeah,
more
I'm
Darius?
feeling the backfire for DVA here.
Not bad.
It's not terrible, but it's also a little clunky.
I'm still against concentration in Daria. I don't care what case anybody makes against me. I've played Daria enough to know that you just don't want to be doing stuff like that. You don't really want to be adding cards to your hand when you have Daria already.
Mm-hmm.
You just want to get it down, slam it, and then just play out everything and just keep the train rolling.
Which is why the Mysterian cards are so good for Daria, right? Because it's not pulling new cards, but you are getting more cards for that spell boost.
Yeah, I think the Mysterian Knowledge and the Golem Assault are perfect for the deck. I don't think concentration is needed. I don't think we've seen in any game concentration be necessary for any of the wins that have been happening from Daria. And it's even pulling people to play Silent Laboratory in the deck too, which again just doesn't do anything for the deck. Not a fan.
Yeah, the ramp was not as straightforward, I think, as DVA had hoped.
Mm-hmm. And now we finally get to see some Aiella evolves.
Yeah.
And now
this
there's
is going to
Sybil.
turn into a very strong game for Andeemon, I feel like.
Head on board already, has a couple Breath of the Salamanders, has a Sybil, and if nothing exciting happens next turn on the side of Deviate, he can just slam down the Canyon of Dragons and just start taking over the board.
Yeah, if the Canyon of Dragons comes down, it all of a sudden becomes much easier to handle Daria boards.
We've actually been seeing it very difficult for cards like Tilting at Windmills and Canyon of Dragons to actually be played in these matchups because they're just getting a lot more aggressive.
Yes.
Which I like. This is how you take Dragon down. You don't let it's becoming like the new Havencraft. Just don't let them play their endgame stuff.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
Yeah. There's a sense of immediacy and urgency.
Yeah, and this is a perfect turn for just Sybil plus Breath of the Salamander. Ramp up to 9 the following turn for an Israfil. I'm pretty sure that Andeemon has gotten past the phase that he needs to actually win this game.
Yeah. Interesting because it started out with such a good hand for Deviate, but in combination with not quite drawing the spell options that he would have liked, and Andeemon having so much early ramp.
I think it's just the concentrations. I mean, when you have Insight and Daria in your hand and you just draw into like concentration, you're not doing anything that Daria wants to do.
It's an expensive boost too.
It's expensive boost. You're not dealing damage to your opponent. You're not producing anything to the board.
There it is. And the Salamander says safe. Up to 20 with the Sybil on board at 8 play points.
Yep. And if you're Deviate, you know the pressure's on now. You've allowed Dragon to get to the end game. You still haven't even popped your first Daria yet. You can technically out-card advantage Dragon, but it's not that easy.
Yeah. Very, very tough. And really, I think the big thing to watch out here for DVA is you can get blown out. At this point, you can get blown out by things Bahamut. Like Bahamut, right? You're already past that point where it's like, oh, interesting. You're already past that point where the board clear options are not available, you know?
Right.
Dragon does have those options when they're at the late game.
It really depends on how Deviate wants to play this. Does he want to play around Israfil? Does he want to play around Breath of the Salamander? Very similar in nature. How does he want to deal with the Sybil? Because he has to take the Sybil out.
I think that you choose to evolve the Ogler. The reason why I say that... Okay, that works too.
This is
Because
the
now
safest play against board wipes for
Yeah.
what he just did. Unfortunately, that Blade Mage didn't get any damage in. Okay, and he's really playing around board wiping here. I really like this evolve. I really like the way he played this turn.
Yeah. Yeah, and he pulled into just one of those board wipes.
I think the best option here for Andeemon is just double Breath of the Salamander. It feels weird because you're giving up 2 board wipes on the same turn. But Israfil, you'd rather save for the big heal as opposed to not right now.
Yeah. You're basically throwing Israfil to the wolves too.
Right. Right. Yeah, I really like this. You still have 2 evolution orbs. Get the most use out of it. Daria drawn, pretty good. I mean, 2 enchanted swords right now is pretty sweet.
I don't think he has a play point. Oh, he has exactly the play points to play the second one.
Stop!
It's about as big of a turn as you could have hoped with the hand that Deviate had.
Yeah, which is quite underwhelming for Daria.
Yep, and I think this is the Israfil turn. 3 damage is hard to come by. Piercing runes don't do it by itself. Zeus is fine too. Nothing wrong with Zeus.
Yeah.
It leaves the same defense on a follower. Ooh.
Wow.
All right,
And
Magic Missile
piercing
picked
rune.
up.
Yeah. Daria is down to 5. Ogler out. And I like that. You know, you're at play points high enough to be able to control it, and still no Bahamut. So Israfil comes down here, up to 14. I can't imagine you just wouldn't evolve it.
Yeah, you've got 2 left. Use them before you die. That's always the rule. If you ever die with evolution orbs left, you have to rethink your game plan and be like, all right,
Yeah.
when did I mess up?
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. I think you can play both of them out here for a 3-cost Daria on 5 play points. That means you have 2 to play with.
All right, and here's the big finish.
You need something to take down the... And it doesn't exist. So this is Phil on the backswing is just going to ruin everything.
Yep. Nothing to take it out.
Okay.
Try to fill up the board as best you can, but we can see that there's a Blazing Breath in hand.
10, 12, 5, 7, lethal.
Oh, just lethal in play. Anyway, so yeah, it doesn't even matter.
There it is, Andeemon with Dragoncraft, and it looks like Exodium was right. Do you want to fight against Dragoncraft twice? I think the answer is probably not.
I think players are going to learn over time. Like, when you're building decks and when you're playing against people, not only does your strategy matter, but it's what is your opponent going to ban? What do you think you're going to have to play against? It's tough, and I think that Shadowcraft deck was a lot more ripe for the pickings with what DV8 had access to with his decks.
Andeemon moves back up to the grand finals, and that means that the grand finals is going to be Sky Summon versus Andeemon, the rematch. We have possibly multiple opportunities to see Roland come down the bracket.